Hello dear students, today we are going to go through the modality system. What are the most important modal verbs? What are the differences between them? What are the different usages of each? And what are the main meanings that can be revealed by using these modal verbs, or the meanings that you can express by using these modal verbs? Let's first define the modality system or the modal verbs. What is a modal verb or the modal phrase? A modal verb is a type of auxiliary verb or helping verb that is used to express possibility, ability, obligation, or permission. Modal phrases or semi-modals are used to express the same things as modals, but are a combination of auxiliary verbs and the preposition to. The most common modal verbs are can, could, be able to, may and might, shall and should, must and have to, will and would. Okay, to express an ability, you can use can or be able to. Let's focus. We can use can to talk about ability. The negative of can is cannot, and the contraction is can't. For example, can you swim? He can play the guitar. I can't open this bottle. Can you meet me tomorrow evening? We can use be able to instead of can. For example, are you able to swim? Is the same meaning like can you swim, but can is more common. On the same level, could and be able to or was or were able to, we can use could to say that someone had the general ability to do something but in the past. For example, I could swim when I was 4 years old. My sister could talk when she was 15 months old. We also use was or were able to with this meaning, interchangeable. I was able to swim when I was 4 years old. We have both the same meaning, but as we say, that could is more common. But we have a certain difference that you have to focus on and you have to know well. When we want to say that someone had the ability to do something and that they did it in a particular situation, we must use was or were able to. And could in this context is not possible. Let's see an example for this. For example, even though I would hurt my leg, I was able to swim back to the boat. I'm talking about certain situation about the boat. Okay, in this context, I cannot use could. Another example, the manager wasn't in the office very long, but we were able to speak to him for a few minutes. Also, here I'm talking about certain situation. I cannot use could. Able to, we're able to because this is in the past, is more appropriate. Another point to focus on this or to explain your ability, we can use managed to plus infinitive or succeeded in plus ing form instead of was or were able to in this meaning. For example, even though I would hurt my leg, I managed to swim back to the boat, or I succeeded in swimming back to the boat. We normally use managed to or succeeded in when the action was difficult to do. Another point, which is the verbs of perception. There is an exception with the verbs of perception. Verbs of perception means the verbs such as see, hear, smell, taste, feel, and some verbs of thinking such as understand and remember. We use could with these verbs when we actually did these things in a particular situation. For example, we could see a man in the garden. I could hear a noise outside my bedroom door. We use could not and the contraction couldn't for both general ability and particular situation. For example, my grandmother couldn't dance. He tried very hard, but he couldn't swim back to the boat. This is the case with the verbs of perception. Then we have another point, which is could have and the usage of could have. We use could have plus past participle of the verb to say that someone had the ability or the opportunity to do something in the past but did not do it. For example, you could have helped me. Why didn't you? This means that you didn't help me, but you could have helped me. You had the ability to do this, but you didn't. I could have gone to China on holiday last year, but I decided not to. Okay, by this we finished the expression of the ability. Then let's go to the permission. In the permission, we can use can, could, may, might, and be allowed to. Let's see the differences between them. First, when we are asking for permission. Can I borrow your dictionary? We use can, could, and may to ask for permission. Also, for example, can I use your pen for a moment? Could I ask you a personal question? May I make a suggestion? Very simple. Another example. Can I borrow your dictionary? We use can, could, and may to ask for the permission, such as can I use your pen for a moment? Could I ask you a personal question? And may I make a suggestion? But we have a certain difference between them. Could is less direct and more polite than can here. May is more formal, and some people think that it is more correct than can or could, but can and could are more common. We can also use might to ask for permission in a less direct, more formal style. For example, might I make a suggestion? Okay, what about giving a permission? When we give permission, we use can or may, but not could or might. This is when you give permission and not ask for permission. For example, can I use your pen for a moment? Yes, of course you can. You can borrow my camera if you want to. Could I make a suggestion? Of course you may. Okay, when we are talking about permission and if we have certain laws, let's see. When we talk about things that are already permitted or not permitted, for example, when there is a law or a rule, we use can't or be not allowed to. For example, you can't swim or aren't allowed to smoke in this room. Another example, you can get married or are allowed to get married in Britain when you are 16. That's a law. Another one, the children normally go to bed at 9 o'clock, but they can stay up or are allowed to stay up later on Saturdays. Their parents have decided this. This is with the laws or the rules. Okay, what about could or was and were allowed to? We use could to say that we had general permission to do something in the past. For example, when I was 18, I could borrow my parents' car whenever I wanted to. We also can use was or were. Allowed to is also possible in this meaning. When I was 18, I was allowed to borrow my parents' car when I wanted to. But when you want to say that someone had permission to do something and they did it in a particular past situation, we must use was or were allowed to. And could in this context is not possible. For example, I was allowed to borrow my parents' car last night. And in this context, I could borrow my parents' car last night is not possible. Okay, till here, I thank you very much and I wish the presentation is beneficial for you. Thank you.